Snowy peaks guard secrets. Fortresses rise from valleys. Every gust of wind tells a story older than time itself. This is Georgia, a place that feels both familiar and otherworldly, where Europe meets Asia and the past still breathes in every shadow. From hidden monasteries carved into cliffs to ghost towns buried under mountain fog, from deadly passes that once carried ancient caravans to secret cities echoing with forgotten prayers, Georgia is not just a destination. It's an awakening, a journey through myth, faith, and survival written into the very bones of the land. In this film, we're venturing beyond the postcard-perfect views into the wild heart of Georgia's mystery. We'll uncover the lost cities, the sacred valleys, and the silent fortresses that have stood through centuries of war, invasion, and rebirth. You'll see landscapes that defy imagination, deserts that shimmer like gold, peaks that pierce the heavens, and villages that seem frozen in another era. So take a deep breath and let go of everything you think you know about this world, because what you're about to see might just change the way you see time, history, and beauty itself. This is Unreal Georgia. Begin with a cinematic opening, the Caucasus Mountains shrouded in mist, the echoes of church bells and ancient chants blending with modern life. Introduce Georgia as a mysterious meeting point of continents, faiths, and empires. Explore Tbilisi's layers of chaos and charm, its sulfur baths, narrow streets, and the deep soul of a city that survived countless rebirths. In the beginning, there was fire, and from that fire, Georgia was born. Imagine standing where two worlds collide, Europe to the west, Asia to the east, and between them, a land so old that its stories were whispered long before history learned to write. This is not just a country, it's a living myth. Snow-capped mountains rise like guardians of time, rivers cut through green valleys older than empires, and in the air, you can feel something almost sacred, the pulse of a place that has seen it all and still stands proud. Welcome to Georgia, the land between worlds, where every step feels like walking through the pages of an epic still being written. From the first glance, Georgia feels unreal, as if it shouldn't exist the way it does. Here, ancient churches stand beside glass towers, and shepherds guide their flocks through the same passes once used by silk traders and soldiers of forgotten kingdoms. The scent of baking bread mixes with mountain air, and laughter echoes through winding cobblestone streets where time seems to fold upon itself. It's here, in the heart of the Caucasus, that history and legend meet, and they both wear the same face. Tbilisi, Georgia's capital, is the soul of this story, a city that refuses to be defined by any single age or culture. From the moment you arrive, you sense its contradictions, its wild beauty, its scars, its charm that's equal parts chaos and grace. The city sprawls across hills and valleys, a tangle of rooftops and bridges stretched over the winding Kura River. It's a place where every brick has a past, and every corner hides a secret. Above it all, the statue of Cartless Data, the mother of Georgia, watches over her people, a sword in one hand to defend, a cup of wine in the other to welcome. That's Georgia, in essence, fierce and kind, resilient and poetic. Beneath the surface, Tbilisi literally breathes. The sulfur baths in the district of Abanotubani steam up into the night air, carrying with them stories that date back to the 5th century. According to legend, the city was founded here after a king's falcon fell into a hot spring. The warmth so astonishing, he named the place Tbilisi, meaning warm place. Today, those same springs continue to bubble beneath the ground, a reminder that this land is alive, its heart still burning. But it's not just the warmth of the water that defines this city, it's the warmth of its people. In Tbilisi, hospitality isn't a gesture, it's a way of life. Sit with a local family, and you'll be greeted not just with food, but with stories, legends of warriors and saints, of invasions survived, of love songs written to mountains. And somewhere between the laughter and the wine, you realize that Georgia is not a destination. It's an experience of belonging, even for strangers. Look closer, and you'll see how every layer of this city tells a story of survival. The Persian domes, the Orthodox cathedrals, the crumbling Soviet facades, they're all part of a living tapestry. Wander the narrow lanes of old Tbilisi, and you'll feel it, the blend of past and present, tragedy and triumph, all coexisting in perfect imperfection. It's a city that's been destroyed and rebuilt more times than anyone can count. But every time, it rises stronger, more beautiful, more defiant. As dusk falls, the lights of Tbilisi shimmer like fireflies over the Kura River. The scent of grilled meat and wine drifts through the air. Street musicians play soft, haunting tunes that echo through Liberty Square. And somewhere above, the golden dome of the Sameba Cathedral gleams, a symbol of faith that has carried this nation through centuries of turmoil and change. Standing here, it's easy to understand why Georgia feels like a crossroads, not just of geography, but of spirit. It's a place that has absorbed everything the world has thrown at it. Invasions, earthquakes, revolutions, and turned it all into art. In its resilience lies beauty. In its history lies hope. And in its people lies the secret of its soul. Because in Georgia, the land itself tells stories. The mountains remember, the rivers sing, the cities breathe, and the fire that once forged this land between worlds still burns bright in every stone, every song, every heart. This is Georgia, unreal, untamed, unforgettable, and the journey is only just beginning. Under the streets of Tbilisi, the earth still breathes, hot springs bubble and steam like the heartbeat of an ancient civilization. Explore the fusion of Persian, Soviet, and modern architecture. Hidden courtyards, crumbling mansions, and the nightlife that lights up the Kura River tell the story of how Tbilisi's fire never dies, even through centuries of conquest. Beneath the streets of Tbilisi, the earth still breathes. You can feel it in the rising steam that drifts from ancient brick domes, smell it in the sulfur carried on the night wind, and hear it in the quiet bubbling of waters that have never cooled. This is not a metaphor, it's a living reminder that Tbilisi is a city born of fire, shaped by heat, and sustained by an unbroken pulse deep beneath its foundations. The legend says that centuries ago, King Vakhtang Gorgasali was hunting in these hills when his falcon fell into a spring so hot that it cooked on contact. Amazed, the king founded his new capital right here and named it Tbilisi, the warm place. Even now, in the heart of the Abano-Tubani district, that warmth continues to rise. A reminder that some cities are not built, they are awakened. But the true fire of Tbilisi isn't just underground. It burns in the people who have called this city home for millennia. Standing on the narrow streets of the old quarter, you can see the layers of history stacked like sediment. Persian bathhouses beside Russian balconies, Georgian, Orthodox churches next to Armenian cathedrals and old synagogues. This chaotic beauty is what makes Tbilisi timeless. Every empire that tried to conquer it, from the Mongols to the Ottomans, from Persians to Soviets, left behind something. A mark, a scar, a story. And together, those fragments form a city unlike any other. As you wander through old Tbilisi, the air feels thick with memories. The houses tilt and lean as if tired from holding so much history. Wooden balconies, carved in delicate lace-like detail, hang over cobblestone alleys that twist and turn without reason. Cats nap in sunlit corners. Old men sip wine from clay cups. And somewhere, a street musician plays a tune on a panduri that sounds like it could be centuries old. There's no rush here, only rhythm. Like the city breathes in time with its own melody. But for every whisper of the past, there's a spark of something new. Step across the modern Bridge of Peace, a shimmering arc of glass and steel stretching over the Kura River, and it feels like crossing into another era. The futuristic design glows against the backdrop of centuries-old architecture, a symbol of Georgia's rebirth after years of struggle. At night, when the bridge lights up and reflects in the dark waters below, it feels like walking through a dream, one that belongs equally to the past and the future. Tbilisi's spirit is found in its contrasts, in the way tradition and rebellion coexist. In the heart of the city, Orthodox bells echo through the air while, just a few streets away, art galleries and underground clubs pulse with electronic beats. The Rustaveli Avenue hums with life theaters, cafes, street art, and architecture that tells the story of a people who never stopped evolving. Even in its scars, Tbilisi radiates a strange beauty. The faded facades of Soviet buildings, the bullet holes that still mark some walls, they are not erased or hidden, but worn proudly, like medals from battles survived. And when the sun begins to set, the city reveals its most magical face. From the Narikala fortress, perched high above, you can watch the golden light spill across the rooftops, turning the city into a mosaic of copper and fire. Below, the Kura River gleams, winding through the valley like a thread of liquid light. It's in moments like this that you understand Tbilisi isn't just a capital. It's a living poem, one written in scars and song, in laughter and tears, in every face that passes through its winding streets. But the true essence of Tbilisi is its people, fiery, proud, endlessly kind. Georgians don't just welcome guests, they embrace them like family. Sit at a supra, a traditional feast, and you'll understand. The table will overflow with food, laughter, and endless toasts made by the tamada, the toastmaster, who leads the gathering like a conductor of emotion. Every glass of wine raised is not just a drink, but a blessing for peace, for love, for friendship, for those who are gone, and those yet to come. It's a ritual as ancient as the land itself, a moment when time stands still, and you realize, this, right here, is the heart of Georgia. And then, as night deepens, the city lights flicker to life, one by one, golden reflections on old walls, street lamps glowing through the mist, music floating softly through open windows. Tbilisi feels alive, breathing with its own pulse, the fire beneath it matched only by the fire within it. This is Tbilisi, a city where the earth still burns and the soul never cools. A city that stands as proof that even after centuries of being broken, rebuilt, and reborn, some flames only grow brighter with time. Deep in the mountains of Georgia lie the remnants of forgotten empires, realms once ruled by warrior queens and kings who built churches into cliffs. Travel to Matsketa, the spiritual heart of Georgia, and explore the ancient cave city of Outlived, where pagan rituals and Christian faith intertwined. They say the Caucasus hides stories older than time, kingdoms swallowed by mountains, fortresses devoured by forests, and legends carved into stone that even history has forgotten. Here in Georgia, every ridge and valley holds a secret. And if you listen long enough, the wind will tell you about the kings and queens who ruled before the world even learned their names. This is the land of the lost, where ancient empires rose and vanished, leaving behind ruins that still whisper their truths. Travel north from Tbilisi, and the modern world begins to dissolve. The roads grow narrower, the villages fewer, the air sharpens, carrying the scent of pine and snow. In the distance, the Caucasus Mountains rise like a wall between earth and sky, raw, untamed, eternal. Hidden among these peaks are the remains of kingdoms long gone, places that once ruled the crossroads between Europe and Asia. One of them was Caucasus, the mythical realm where Jason and the Argonauts came in search of the Golden Fleece. To the ancient Greeks, this was the edge of the world, a place of wonder and danger, ruled by kings who held both power and mystery. Even today, in the valleys near the Black Sea, traces of Caucasus remain. Fragments of gold jewelry, old fortifications, and burial mounds tell of a civilization that thrived more than 3,000 years ago. But what made Caucasus truly remarkable wasn't just its wealth, it was its wisdom. The people here mastered metalwork, trade, and navigation long before most of Europe. Their language, their symbols, their myths, all became threads woven into Georgia's cultural fabric. It's no wonder that the legend of the Golden Fleece was born here. For in Caucasus, Gold was more than treasure, it was identity. They used fleeces to trap gold dust from mountain rivers, creating a shimmering legacy that would echo through centuries. Farther east, beyond the lush valleys of Imereti, lie the ghostly remains of another ancient power, the Kingdom of Iberia. Not the Iberia of Spain, but the original one, Georgia's own. It was here, in the 4th century AD, that King Mirian and Queen Nana embraced Christianity, making Georgia one of the very first nations in the world to do so. The decision changed everything. The temples, the rituals, the architecture, even the soul of the land. From that moment, crosses began to rise where pagan altars once stood, and monasteries were carved into cliffs as if to anchor faith into the very bones of the earth. In the town of Mitsketa, where the Aragvi and Kura rivers meet, the past still breathes. This was Iberia's capital, a city so sacred that locals call it the Second Jerusalem. The Javari monastery crowns the nearby hill, its stone walls weathered by time, its view sweeping over the valley below. Inside, the air is thick with centuries of prayer, candlelight flickering against frescoes painted in ancient pigments. Beneath those stones lies the grave of Saint Nino, the woman who brought Christianity to Georgia. It's here that history and faith intertwine, where kingdoms may fall, but belief endures. And yet, the deeper you travel into Georgia's mountains, the more mysterious the ruins become. The lost towers of Svaneti, the silent fortresses of Shevsureti, the stone villages that cling to cliff sides, as if defying gravity, they all tell the same story. Isolation was not weakness, it was survival. These mountain tribes resisted every invasion, every empire. They built fortifications not only to protect themselves, but to preserve a way of life untouched by time. In Ushkuli, one of the highest inhabited settlements in Europe, medieval watchtowers still rise against the sky. When the fog rolls through the valley, it feels as if you've stepped into another century, one where warriors stood guard at every window, where families defended their homes like miniature kingdoms of their own. Each ruined tower, each weathered stone, carries echoes of lost dynasties, the Bagrattioni kings, whose bloodline ruled for over 1,000 years, the Dukes of Kakheti, who held their lands through loyalty and fire, the builders of Vardzia, who carved an entire city into a cliff. Under the reign of Queen Tamar, Georgia's greatest ruler, the woman they still call the King, her reign marked the height of Georgia's golden age, a time when art, poetry, and faith flourished in harmony with power. And though her empire eventually crumbled, her spirit never left these mountains. It lingers in the quiet strength of the people and the unshakable pride in their heritage. As dusk falls, the mountains turn to shadow and the air grows cold. You realize that Georgia's ancient kingdoms never truly disappeared, they just changed form. They live on in the songs sung by shepherds, in the churches carved into rock, in the ruins that refuse to fade. Every echo, every scar, every whisper of wind through stone is a reminder that history here isn't gone. It's alive, watching, waiting, buried beneath the soil but never forgotten. Because in Georgia, the past doesn't sleep. It dreams, and those dreams still shape the land today. The road to Svaneti isn't just a journey, it's a test of survival. Through winding cliffs, snow-covered passes, and lands that time forgot, reach the medieval villages of Mestia and Ushkuli, guarded by stone towers built to withstand both enemies and avalanches. This is Georgia's wild heart, untamed, perilous, and breathtaking. They say the sea remembers everything, every shipwreck, every storm, every whisper of a forgotten prayer. Along Georgia's Black Sea coast, the waves don't just crash against the shore, they speak. Beneath their dark blue surface lies a silent archive of centuries, a deep and restless history that has shaped the fate of this nation. From the ancient ports of Caucasus to the golden sands of Batumi, this is where myths were born, empires collided, and secrets were swallowed whole. As dawn breaks over Batumi, the city shimmers with a strange beauty, part ancient, part futuristic. Glass towers rise beside old stone churches. Palm trees sway beside statues of gods long forgotten. This is Georgia's coastal jewel, a city that never stops evolving. But beneath the neon lights and seaside promenades lies a much older heart, one that beats to the rhythm of the sea. Batumi has always been a gateway, once a Greek trading colony, then a Roman port, a Byzantine outpost, and later a frontier of the Ottoman Empire. Each era left behind its own fingerprints. Somewhere between the modern skyline and the soft hum of the waves, you can still feel those layers of time pressing together like pages in an ancient book. Travel north, and the coastline begins to shift. The beaches turn wild and the sea grows darker. Here lies the ancient city of Poti, the very mouth of the mythical Caucasus, where Jason and the Argonauts are said to have landed in search of the Golden Fleece. Archaeologists have uncovered remnants of old fortresses, coins stamped with Greek symbols, and fragments of pottery that whisper of trade routes stretching across the Mediterranean. But it's not just myth that clings to this place, it's memory. The Black Sea, with its deep, oxygen-deprived waters, preserves shipwrecks like time capsules. Some lie perfectly intact, their cargoes frozen in the stillness of the deep, their stories waiting to resurface. Locals still tell tales of ghost ships, seen at twilight, vessels from another age gliding silently across the horizon before fading into mist. Scientists say it's just an illusion of light, but those who live by the sea know better. The Black Sea has moods, tempers, and mysteries that science cannot fully explain. In the small fishing villages near Kobuleti and Ureki, elders recall seeing ancient amphorae wash ashore after storms, or hearing strange sounds echoing beneath the waves on calm nights. It's as if the sea itself refuses to stay quiet, as if it keeps retelling the stories the world has forgotten. But perhaps no legend runs deeper than the one tied to Gonio Fortress, just south of Batumi, near the Turkish border. Massive stone walls, overgrown with moss, rise above the coastline, remnants of a Roman fort built nearly 2,000 years ago. According to legend, one of the apostles of Christ, Saint Matthias, was buried here. For centuries, this fortress was both a sanctuary and a battlefield, a place where faith met empire. The stones, weathered and scarred, have seen the march of countless armies, from Romans and Byzantines to Ottomans and Georgians. And yet, through it all, the fortress still stands silent, enduring, unbroken. Further inland, the rivers that flow into the Black Sea carry their own secrets. The Kuroki, the Rioni, the Supsa. These waters once guided traders and conquerors into the heart of the Caucasus. They carried gold from the mountains, silk from the east, and legends from the west. In their currents lies the story of a nation built on crossroads, a place where Europe and Asia blurred together, where pagan and Christian, ancient and modern, coexist in an uneasy harmony. The Black Sea has always been both a border and a bridge dividing worlds, yet forever drawing them together. As night falls, Batumi transforms again. The city lights shimmer across the dark waves, like stars scattered on water. From the pier, you can see cargo ships glowing on the horizon, drifting toward ports unknown. Somewhere beyond them lies Crimea, beyond that Istanbul, and beyond that the open Mediterranean. For centuries, Georgian sailors followed these same paths, carrying not just goods, but stories. Stories of survival, of faith, of kingdoms lost beneath the waves. Yet even as the world moves forward, there's something eternal about this coast. The sound of the tide rolling over ancient stones, the salty wind brushing against the ruins, the cries of seabirds echoing through the night. It's as if the sea itself is alive, breathing the past back into the present. The people who live here have learned to listen to it. They know the Black Sea gives and takes, remembers and forgets. And maybe that's the greatest truth of all, that the Black Sea isn't just a body of water. It's a mirror, reflecting every triumph and tragedy of the land it touches. It holds the ghosts of ancient empires, the songs of fishermen, and the prayers of travelers who vanished beyond the horizon. Every ripple, every gust of wind, every whisper of wave against rock is part of a story that began thousands of years ago and still hasn't ended. Because in Georgia, even the sea keeps secrets. And if you stand on the shore long enough, you might just hear them calling your name. Where the Black Sea crashes against neon lights and palm trees, Batumi rises like a mirage. A city that feels more illusion than reality, futuristic towers beside crumbling Soviet relics reveal its contradictions. Luxury beside decay, ambition beside memory, and a coastline that hides stories of trade, power, and reinvention. High in Georgia's southern cliffs, where the Mekvari River cuts through wild, rocky gorges, lies one of the most astonishing places ever carved by human hands, Vardzia. From a distance, it looks like a mountainside full of scars and shadows, a silent wall of stone. But as you get closer, you realize it's alive, a city hidden inside the mountain itself. More than 600 rooms, churches, tunnels, and stairways, all carved into the rock centuries ago. It's not just a fortress. It's a miracle of survival, a monument to faith, ingenuity, and the sheer will of a nation that refused to disappear. Legends say that Vardzia was born out of a mistake. Princess Tamar, the future queen of Georgia, once wandered away while hunting with her uncle, King Georgi III. When he called out for her, she shouted back from the mountain, "Vardzia! I'm here, uncle!" From those words came the name Vardzia. But what began as a royal legend soon became one of the greatest engineering feats of medieval Georgia. Built in the 12th century, during Queen Tamar's reign, this rock-hewn city was designed to be a sanctuary, a refuge for monks, scholars, and people seeking safety from invading armies. When you step into Vardzia, you don't just enter a place, you enter a dream sculpted from stone. Narrow passages twist through the cliffs like veins through a body. Hidden staircases descend into silent chambers. Frescoes still glow faintly on the walls. Their colors faded, but their spirit-alive scenes of saints, angels, and Queen Tamar herself, painted with devotion nearly 900 years ago. The air smells of earth and candle wax, and every sound echoes softly, as if the mountain is whispering. Imagine life here in its prime, hundreds of monks living in this vertical labyrinth, tending vineyards on the riverbank below, praying in candlelit chapels, and teaching from manuscripts copied by hand. Water flowed through a network of stone pipes, wine fermented in hidden cellars, and bells rang out from deep within the mountain. Vardzia wasn't just a monastery. It was a kingdom within a rock, self-sufficient, silent, and sacred. But Vardzia's beauty was born out of danger. In the 12th century, Georgia stood between great powers, the Seljuks from the south, the Mongols from the east, and the Byzantine influence from the west. Queen Tamar's reign was a golden age, but also a time of constant threat. The mountain monasteries, like Vardzia, were built not just for prayer, but for protection. The city could hide thousands of people. Its tunnels ran for kilometers, connecting secret exits and lookout points. From the outside, invaders saw only cliffs, never realizing that inside those cliffs lived a thriving civilization. Then came tragedy. In the 13th century, an earthquake struck, tearing away most of Vardzia's outer wall and exposing its hidden chambers to the world. Half the city was destroyed in an instant, yet what remained became legend. Travelers from Persia and Byzantium wrote about this city of monks inside the mountain. For centuries, pilgrims have come here not just to see its ruins, but to feel its presence. Because even in silence, Vardzia speaks. Stand in the great church of the Dormition, and you'll understand why. Light filters through narrow openings, illuminating the frescoes of saints who seem to watch you with eternal patience. The face of Queen Tamar gazes down from the wall, serene, young, and resolute. Her rule was one of faith and strength, and this place still carries her spirit. The church's acoustics are perfect. One voice can fill the entire chamber, Monks once sang here as storms raged outside, their voices echoing through stone corridors like thunder. Outside, the Mutkavari River winds endlessly through the valley. The cliffs glow gold at sunset, and swallows dart in and out of the caves, as if carrying the souls of those who once lived there. There's a sacred stillness that settles over the entire site, a peace so deep it feels almost ancient. You can feel that this was more than architecture. It was devotion turned into matter, faith carved into stone. Today, only a few monks remain, their robes dark against the pale rock. They live quietly, tending gardens, ringing bells, and keeping the old rituals alive. They don't speak much to visitors, but if you listen to the wind as it moves through the tunnels, you might catch a faint melody, the same hymns that once echoed here centuries ago. Vardzia is more than a historical wonder. It's a symbol of endurance, proof that when faced with destruction, the Georgian spirit chose to build deeper, not higher. It's a reminder that even within darkness, light can be found. Even inside a mountain, a city can breathe. As you stand at the entrance and look across the valley, you realize something powerful. Vardzia isn't a ruin. It's a heartbeat trapped in stone, still pulsing quietly beneath the surface. Every echo, every carving, every flicker of light against its walls tells a story that never truly ended. Because in Georgia, even the mountains hold memories. And Vardzia, the city inside the rock, is where those memories still live, waiting for anyone brave enough to step inside and listen. Long before Rome or Greece, Georgians were making wine 8,000 years ago. In the valleys of Kakheti, beneath the shadows of the Caucasus, explore the world's oldest winemaking tradition, where families still bury clay vessels called quevri to let the earth ferment their stories. Taste history in every drop, and see why Georgia calls wine its blood. High in the rugged heart of the Caucasus, where clouds brush against jagged peaks and time itself seems to stand still, lies a land so ancient, so isolated, that it feels like a fragment of another world. This is Svaneti, the kingdom in the clouds, a place where stone towers rise above emerald valleys, where traditions older than empires still shape daily life, and where every mountain peak carries a story whispered through the wind. Svaneti is one of Georgia's most mystical regions, hidden among the towering summits of the Greater Caucasus. For centuries, it was nearly unreachable, its roads snowbound for half the year, its villages clinging to cliffs like secrets guarded by nature herself. The Svan people, proud descendants of ancient warriors and farmers, have lived here for thousands of years, untouched by time and fiercely protective of their culture. And when you first arrive, you feel it, the stillness, the strength, the sacredness of this mountain world. At the heart of Svaneti stands Mestia, a small town surrounded by the towering stone towers that define this land. These aren't just buildings, they are symbols of survival, built between the 9th and 12th centuries. These watchtowers once protected families from invaders and avalanches alike. Each household had one, serving as a fortress, a shelter, and a declaration of pride. When the sun sets and the towers glow in the golden light of dusk, it's easy to imagine the old days when firelight flickered from their narrow windows and the people inside prepared for long winter nights under the snow. But Svaneti is more than its architecture. It's a living museum of Georgia's soul. Walk through Mestia's winding streets and you'll hear the sound of Svanetian polyphonics singing a haunting, layered harmony so powerful it feels like the mountains themselves are joining in. It's a tradition recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity, and it's unlike anything else on Earth. The songs tell stories of love, loss, war, and the eternal bond between man and the mountains. A short journey away lies Ushkuli, often called the highest permanently inhabited village in Europe, perched at over 2,000 meters above sea level. The road there is wild, narrow, and breathtaking. It twists along cliffs and rivers, revealing views that look like something from a dream. And when you finally arrive, Ushguli greets you with silence, the kind of silence that only mountains know. Stone towers rise above the green slopes, herds of cattle move slowly across the meadows, and the great peak of Mount Shkara looms above everything tall, white, and eternal. In Ushguli, life hasn't changed much in centuries. People still live in stone houses, bake bread in clay ovens, and gather by the fire on cold nights. The air is crisp, and the smell of pine and earth fills your lungs. Children run barefoot through the grass, and elders sit on wooden benches, telling stories of heroes, ghosts, and gods. There's a rhythm here that feels ancient, a heartbeat that connects the people to the land in ways modern life has long forgotten. Svaneti's isolation protected it not just from outsiders, but from time itself. Many of Georgia's oldest icons, manuscripts, and relics were hidden here during invasions, preserved in small stone churches that still stand today. Step inside one, and you'll see frescoes that glow faintly under candlelight, saints with wide eyes and worn halos, painted centuries ago by unknown hands. The walls breathe with history, and the air feels thick with devotion. But Svaneti isn't just a relic of the past, it's also a paradise for the soul. The surrounding landscapes are among the most stunning on Earth. Waterfalls tumble from icy cliffs. Alpine meadows burst with wildflowers in summer. Rivers cut through valleys so deep that sunlight barely touches their base. And above it all, the snow-covered giants of the Caucasus stand watch. Ushba, Tetnuli, and Shkara, their peaks often lost in mist. These mountains are more than scenery. They are sacred, believed to be the dwelling places of spirits and protectors of the Svan people. It's easy to feel small here. Small, but connected. The vastness of Svaneti strips away everything unnecessary. The noise, the rush, the endless distractions of the modern world, they fade into the distance. What remains is something raw and real. The sense that you're walking through the veins of the earth itself. At night, when the stars blanket the sky in shimmering light, Svaneti becomes truly otherworldly. You can hear the river rushing in the darkness, the distant echo of a song carried by the wind, and the soft hum of life continuing as it always has. The towers stand like silent guardians, watching over the valley as they have for centuries. Svaneti teaches you something profound: that beauty doesn't need to be polished, that strength can come from silence, and that sometimes the most extraordinary places are those that refuse to change. It's a land untouched by time, protected by stone, and blessed by the heavens above. And as the dawn breaks, painting the peaks in gold and pink, you realize something timeless. Svaneti isn't just part of Georgia. It is Georgia. The heart, the heritage, the unshakable soul of a nation that has learned to thrive between earth and sky. Imagine an entire city hidden inside a mountain halls, chapels, tunnels, all carved by hand. Vardzia was built not for comfort, but for survival, faith, and hope during invasion. Step into its echoing chambers, still glowing faintly with candlelight and devotion. This is not just history, it's a whisper from a civilization that refused to die. There are places in Georgia where the earth seems to breathe, where water flows through stone as if carving the planet's memory, and where nature creates masterpieces beyond imagination. These are the canyons of Georgia, Martvili, and Okatse, two natural wonders that look as though they belong in a world untouched by human hands. Hidden deep in the country's western region, these gorges reveal a side of Georgia that feels almost otherworldly, where emerald waters, steep cliffs, and the soft echo of waterfalls create a silence that speaks louder than words. The story of Martvili Canyon begins in the Somagrelo region, an area once known as the land of kings and warriors. But what lies beneath its forests is something far older, a river that has been carving its way through limestone for millions of years. As you approach Martvili, the air cools, the scent of moss grows thick, and suddenly, the forest opens into a vision that stops you in your tracks. The canyon glows in shades of jade and turquoise, sunlight piercing through gaps in the trees, bouncing off the water like shards of glass. It's a place that seems painted, not real. The kind of landscape that forces you to stop and simply breathe. Locals call this place a cathedral of nature, and as you glide down the canyon in a small boat, it's easy to see why. The walls rise high above you, their surfaces streaked with veins of green and gold. Tiny waterfalls spill from cracks in the stone, feeding the river below. The water is so clear you can see every pebble beneath the surface, every fish darting through the current. The silence is only broken by the rhythmic dip of your oar, a sound that echoes like a heartbeat in the heart of the earth. But Martvili wasn't always a place of peace. Centuries ago, this canyon was sacred ground for the local Megrelian tribes. It was said to be the place where noble families held ceremonies. Some say even sacrifices to the gods of water and fertility. Later, Christian monks built a monastery above the canyon, turning it into a sanctuary of a different kind. The contrast between its dark myths and its serene present adds to the canyon's mystery, a reminder that beauty and history often coexist in silence. As you follow the path that winds above the gorge, you find viewpoints that take your breath away. From one edge, you can see the river glinting like liquid crystal far below, twisting through a labyrinth of cliffs. From another, you can watch as mist rises from hidden waterfalls, drifting like smoke through the trees. The sound of rushing water seems to whisper secrets of the land of the time before time, when the earth was still shaping itself. A short journey away, near the town of Koni, lies another masterpiece of nature, Outlived Canyon. If Martvili feels like a gentle dream, Outlived feels like a dare. It's wild, vast, and humbling, a place that challenges your courage and rewards your awe. The canyon stretches for several kilometers, its walls plunging nearly 100 meters deep. The path to reach it is an adventure of its own. A suspended walkway of metal and wood that clings to the cliffside, hanging high above the abyss. As you step onto the walkway, your heart beats faster. The boards creak softly under your feet, and when you look down, the world seems to drop away beneath you. Forests, rivers, and boulders scattered like ancient ruins far below. The wind whistles past your ears, carrying the scent of pine and damp earth. Every step is a test of nerve, but it's impossible not to keep going, drawn forward by the sheer immensity of it all. Then, at the very end of the path, you find the viewpoint, a glass platform suspended over the void. From here, the entire canyon unfolds beneath you. The river sparkles in the sunlight, twisting between cliffs that glow in layers of gold, gray, and green. Birds circle below, so distant they look like flecks of ash drifting through the air. Standing here, with the wind roaring and the earth spread out beneath you, you feel something that words can't describe: the deep, primal awe of standing before nature's power. Outlived Canyon is a place of contrasts, terrifying yet beautiful, dangerous yet peaceful. It's a reminder that true beauty often lives at the edge of fear, and when you finally step off the walkway, your legs still trembling, you realize that this wasn't just a hike, it was a journey into the heart of the Earth's creation. Together, Martvili and Outlived form a kind of dual heartbeat in Georgia's landscape, two veins of water and stone that pulse with life and legend. They tell stories not just of erosion and time, but of transformation, how even the hardest rock can be softened by patience, how even the deepest scars can become something magnificent. At sunset, when the light fades and the river turns to silver, the canyons fall into silence once more. The air cools, the colors fade, and mist begins to rise again. You can almost feel the spirits of the old world moving through the valleys, the ancient gods of water whispering to the trees, reminding us that everything that lives flows. Martvili and Outlived are more than natural wonders. They are living poetry, verses written by the river, read by those who dare to listen. And as you leave, one thought echoes in your mind. The earth doesn't speak in words, but in places like these, it sings. High above the clouds, where the winds carry prayers instead of sound, lies Mount Kazbegi, a place so sacred, it said, Prometheus was chained here. Explore the breathtaking beauty of Stepan Sminda and the Gergely Trinity Church, perched impossibly on a hill beneath a sky that feels close enough to touch. There's a city where time doesn't move forward or backward, it simply folds in on itself, where ancient sulfur baths steam beside glass skyscrapers, and echoes of empires whisper through narrow alleys lit by neon signs. This city is Tbilisi, the beating heart of Georgia, where every corner tells a story and every shadow hides a secret. To step into Tbilisi is to enter a living paradox, a place where East and West collide, faith and rebellion coexist, and the past and future share the same breath. At first glance, Tbilisi feels like chaos wrapped in beauty. The air hums with the smell of roasted chestnuts, strong coffee, and sulfur. A river, the Matkavari, slices the city in two, reflecting bridges that look like dreams made of glass. Above it all, the ancient Narikala fortress stands guard, its crumbling stones watching over centuries of survival. And as you stand there, overlooking this sprawling mosaic of rooftops, domes, and modern steel, you realize Tbilisi isn't just a city, it's a heartbeat. This place was born from fire and water. According to legend, King Vakhtang Gorgasali discovered the city when his falcon fell into a hot spring. The name Tbilisi literally means warm place. And even today, that warmth defines it, not just the hot sulfur baths that still bubble beneath the earth, but the spirit of its people. Georgians have rebuilt this city more than 24 times after invasions, earthquakes, and fires. Each time, it rises stronger, more beautiful, more defiant, more alive. Walk down Rustaveli Avenue, and you'll feel that pulse instantly. The avenue is a living museum lined with grand theaters, old balconies draped in vines, and cafes where artists, poets, and revolutionaries once plotted the country's destiny. Street musicians play haunting melodies on handpans, their music echoing against marble walls, while students sit in clusters discussing philosophy and politics, just as their ancestors did generations ago. But it's when you step into the old town that Tbilisi reveals its soul. The streets twist like tangled roots, leading you past carved wooden balconies that lean over cobblestone lanes. The smell of baking bread drifts from family bakeries, and every turn brings a discovery, a hidden courtyard, a forgotten church, a crumbling mosaic that once told the story of kings. Here, every wall seems to breathe. Every stone hums with memory. Then, without warning, you stumble upon the Abano Tubani district, the oldest part of the city where the legendary sulfur baths still stand. Their domed roofs rise like miniature mountains, and the air is thick with steam and history. Inside, the baths are dimly lit, filled with the soft sound of running water. Locals claim these springs have healing powers, and perhaps they do, because even a few moments here feel like a baptism into the soul of Tbilisi itself. Step outside, and modernity hits you like a wave. The Bridge of Peace, a futuristic glass and steel structure, glows over the river connecting the old and new worlds. It's symbolic in every way. On one side, the ancient churches and traditional houses. On the other, the sleek architecture of a city that refuses to stay trapped in history. At night, the bridge shines like a ribbon of light, a promise that Tbilisi's story is still being written. But the beauty of this city isn't just what you see, it's what you feel. It's in the way people greet you with warmth, offering wine and stories as if you've known them your whole life. It's in the laughter, echoing from balconies at midnight, in the church bells that ring over the call to prayer, in the chaos that somehow feels like home. Tbilisi is not perfect. It's cracked, uneven, unpredictable, but that's what makes it real. It wears its scars with pride. Climb up to the Mtatsminda viewpoint, and you'll see the entire city spread before you, a labyrinth of light and shadow. The golden dome of Sameba Cathedral gleams on one side, while the hills fade into the dark horizon on the other. As the wind brushes your face, you can feel the heartbeat of generations pulsing beneath your feet. This is a city that has seen conquerors, kings, and dreamers, and yet it still belongs to the free. At dusk, when the lights begin to flicker across the valley, Tbilisi becomes something else, entirely a dream caught between worlds. The streets glow, the river mirrors the stars, and music drifts from open windows. You can hear jazz, traditional polyphonic chants, and electronic beats blending into one, a perfect reflection of the city itself. Ancient and modern, sacred and wild, broken and beautiful. And perhaps that's the secret of Tbilisi. It doesn't try to be perfect. It simply is. It's a city that embraces contradiction, that celebrates imperfection, that thrives on contrast. It's not about the monuments or the architecture, it's about the feeling of being alive in a place where history breathes beside you. As night deepens and the city hums under a sky of endless stars, one truth becomes clear. Tbilisi is not a destination. It's an emotion, a heartbeat made of stone, fire, and light. And once you've felt it, it never leaves you. Among the beauty of Georgia lie the scars of another empire, the Soviet Union. Explore forgotten sanatoriums of Tskal-Tubo, eerie monuments, and decaying factories swallowed by nature. These ruins tell stories of power, propaganda, and the human spirit that always rebuilds even after the fall of giants. There's a saying in Georgia, "Wine is not made, it is born." And nowhere does that truth come alive more vividly than in Kakheti, the land of golden valleys, rolling vineyards, and stories as old as civilization itself. From the moment you step into this region, the air feels different, warmer, softer, almost perfumed with grapes and history. The light here glows with a golden hue, painting everything in tones of nostalgia and divinity. But Kakheti is not just about wine. It's a place where the earth itself tells tales of kings and monks, of passion and patience, of time standing still beneath the shadows of the Caucasus Mountains. The road from Tbilisi to Kakheti winds through sunlit hills and quiet villages, where the scent of fermenting grapes fills the air. As the landscape opens up, you see endless vineyards stretching toward the horizon, neat rows that shimmer in the afternoon sun like emerald ribbons. These aren't just farms, they're sacred grounds. Here, winemaking isn't a trade, it's a faith. The people of Kakheti have been crafting wine for over 8,000 years, making Georgia one of the oldest wine-producing regions on Earth. And the secret lies deep underground, in the ancient clay vessels known as qvevri. Inside stone cellars called marani, families still follow the same process their ancestors used millennia ago. Grapes are pressed by hand, their juice poured into these massive earthen pots buried beneath the ground. The wine ferments naturally, untouched by machines, guided only by time and temperature. The qvevri, coated in beeswax, allows the wine to breathe, infusing it with earthy tones, a hint of clay, and something that can only be described as the flavor of the land itself. Each bottle carries not just the taste of fruit, but the memory of generations who poured their soul into this craft. Travel deeper into Kakheti, and you reach Tel Aviv, the region's cultural heart, a town where old stone walls meet cypress trees, and the scent of fresh bread mingles with the sweetness of grapes. Tel Aviv feels timeless. Wooden balconies overlook cobblestone streets, and beyond them, the snowy peaks of the Caucasus rise like ancient guardians. Nearby lies the Outlived monastery, built in the 6th century by monks who first cultivated wine for worship. Even today, the monks continue their sacred tradition, making some of the purest qvevri wine in Georgia. Their vineyards stretch beneath the monastery's towering stone walls, kissed by the same sun that once warmed their saints. But Kakheti's beauty isn't limited to its vineyards. Just outside Tel Aviv, you'll find the Tsanandali estate, a 19th century mansion that once belonged to Prince Alexander Chavchavadze, poet, philosopher, and one of Georgia's greatest cultural icons. His home became a meeting place for artists and thinkers from across Europe and Russia. Today, it stands as a living museum with perfectly kept gardens, ancient wine cellars, and halls filled with echoes of piano notes and poetry. Walking through it feels like drifting through a dream where time refuses to fade. Further east, near the borders of Azerbaijan, lies the breathtaking Svaneti, known as the City of Love. Perched high above the Alazani Valley, its terracotta rooftops and pastel facades look like something out of an old painting. From the fortress walls that surround the city, you can see the entire valley spread before you, a vast ocean of vineyards glistening under the sunday. In the evening, when the lights begin to twinkle and the sky melts into shades of orange and violet, Svaneti transforms into pure magic. Musicians play in the town square, couples stroll hand in hand, and the sound of laughter drifts through the air like the music of the wind. And yet, behind the beauty and romance of Caucasus lies something deeper, a connection between land, spirit, and survival. For centuries, this region has been invaded, burned, and rebuilt, but its people never let go of their roots. Every grape harvested, every song sung, every toast raised in a galmarhos, meaning to victory, is a celebration of endurance. To drink Caucasian wine is to drink history to taste. Sunlight, soil, and human resilience blended into something eternal. At sunset, as the last light slips over the vineyards, the valley glows like molten gold. The shadows lengthen, and the wind whispers through the vines, soft, ancient, and full of secrets. The people gather around long tables, covered with fresh bread, cheese, and clay pitchers of amber wine. A tamada, or toastmaster, stands, lifts his glass, and speaks words that seem to silence even the wind. He toasts to love, to friendship, to the land that gives life. And as glasses clink and songs rise, you realize this isn't just dinner. It's communion. It's the heartbeat of Georgia itself. Caucasus isn't merely a region. It's a revelation. It reminds us that the most powerful things in life, love, faith, and creation, take time. That true beauty doesn't demand perfection, it demands patience. And as the stars begin to appear over the Golden Valley, you can feel it, the pulse of an ancient earth, still alive, still singing through the vines. This is where Georgia's soul breathes in the wine, in the warmth, in the quiet hum of the land. And as you take your final sip beneath a starlit sky, you understand what every Georgian knows in their heart, that Caucasus is not just a place you visit, it's a place you carry with you forever. As the journey ends, look beyond the mountains and ruins to the people. The Georgians themselves are the country's greatest wonder, fierce, poetic, and unbreakable. Their music, dance, and hospitality turn every stranger into family. In the heart of the Caucasus, where the fire never fades, the soul of Georgia burns eternal. There are places in Georgia where silence feels alive, where every gust of wind seems to whisper a story, and the stones beneath your feet remember things long forgotten. Welcome to the land of ghosts, the kingdom of fortresses, ruins, and ancient legends that have outlived empires, earthquakes, and time itself. These places aren't just relics, they're portals to another world. And as the mist curls over broken walls and crumbling towers, you can feel it, the haunting beauty of Georgia's forgotten past calling out from the mountains. Our journey begins at Ananuri Fortress, rising from the banks of the turquoise Aragvi River. The setting is so surreal it almost feels painted. Medieval towers reflected in calm water, surrounded by forested hills that look like they've been waiting centuries to be rediscovered. Built in the 16th century, Ananuri was once the seat of the Aragvi dukes, a place of both power and tragedy. Its towers have seen sieges, betrayals, and flames, yet they still stand defiant and proud. Walking through its arched gates, you hear your own footsteps echo across time. Inside, faded frescoes of saints stare from the church walls, their eyes full of both sorrow and grace. The wind hums through the arrow slits like a voice from the past, soft, ancient, and eternal. But deeper into Georgia's heart lies something even older. Tbilisi, the fortress of God. This isn't just a ruin, it's an entire city carved directly into the rock. dating back over 3,000 years. Once a thriving pagan center before Christianity reached Georgia, Tbilisi was home to kings, priests, and merchants traveling along the Silk Road. As you walk its tunnels and chambers, you can feel the ghost of ancient rituals still lingering in the air. The amphitheater, the wine cellars, the pagan temple dedicated to the sun, all of it sculpted by human hands and time's unyielding patience. When the evening light hits the sandstone cliffs, the caves glow as if the mountain itself is alive. Here, myth and history blur until they're one and the same. Further south, near the border with Turkey, stands Vardzia, perhaps Georgia's most mysterious marvel. Imagine an entire monastery city, carved into the cliffs of Mount Eresheti, hidden from invaders in time. Built during the reign of Queen Tamar in the 12th century, Vardzia once housed thousands of monks, connected by secret tunnels, churches, and stairways that twist through the rock like veins of stone. Deep inside, the Church of the Dormition still holds frescoes of Queen Tamar herself, her image faded but her legacy eternal. The echo of monks chanting once filled these halls. Now, only the wind carries their hymns through the empty corridors. Standing here at sunset, overlooking the valley below, it's impossible not to feel humbled, as if you're standing in the presence of something divine. Travel north to the fortified towers of Svaneti, and you enter a realm straight out of legend. Here, in the high Caucasus mountains, stone towers rise from green valleys like ancient sentinels guarding the sky. These medieval watchtowers, built between the 9th and 13th centuries, were both homes and fortresses, a family's defense against invaders, avalanches, and blood feuds. The villages of Ushkuli and Mestia remain frozen in time, their towers still casting long shadows over cobbled paths and rushing rivers. In winter, the snow falls thick and silent, wrapping everything in white mystery. Locals say spirits wander here at night, ancestors who never left their homeland. Whether you believe it or not, there's something undeniably supernatural about Svaneti, as if the mountains themselves are alive and watching. And then there's Narikala Fortress, overlooking Tbilisi, a crown of stone that has guarded the city for over 1,500 years. Standing atop its walls, you can see the entire capital stretch before you, the domes, bridges, and winding streets glowing under the Georgian Sunday. Narikala has been destroyed and rebuilt countless times by Persians, Mongols, Arabs, and earthquakes. Yet it still endures. It's more than a fortress. It's a symbol of Georgia itself, resilient, unbreakable, proud. As night falls, the fortress lights up, and the city below begins to shimmer like a river of stars. The wind carries the distant sound of laughter, of songs, of life, continuing proof that even in the face of centuries of struggle, the Georgian spirit never fades. Throughout these ruins, Ananuri, Tbilisi, Vardzia, Svaneti, Narikala, a single truth echoes: Georgia's soul is eternal. These aren't monuments to the past. They're reminders of survival, faith, and beauty born from hardship. Every crack in the stone, every faded fresco, every tower reaching toward the sky tells the same story, that time can erode walls, but it can't erase spirit. As the final light slips behind the mountains, the ruins are bathed in gold, silent, majestic, and alive. The wind whispers through the valleys, carrying with it the voices of those who came before. You can almost hear the clash of swords, the songs of monks, the laughter of villagers long gone, and for a moment, it feels like you've stepped outside time itself, into a place where history breathes and legends never die. Georgia's forgotten fortresses aren't just the remnants of another age. They're mirrors of what it means to endure, to hope, and to build beauty from stone and struggle. They remind us that every ruin holds a heartbeat, and every shadow hides a story waiting to be told. And as the stars rise over these sleeping giants, you understand the truth: the ghosts of Georgia are not gone. They're still here, watching over their homeland, whispering through the wind, reminding the world that even in silence, their story lives on. As the sun sets over the Caucasus and the final light fades from Georgia's timeless landscapes, one thing becomes clear: this land is not just a place to visit. It's a place to feel, to listen, to remember. From the towers of Svaneti to the caves of Vardzia, from the deserts of David Gareja to the cobbled soul of Tbilisi, Georgia, is a living poem. Every ruin is a heartbeat from the past. Every mountain, a monument to human endurance. And every traveler who walks here carries a piece of that eternal spirit with them. Because, in Georgia, history doesn't stay buried. It whispers through the wind, it glows through the wine, it dances in the songs of its people. It reminds you that even the smallest nation can hold the vastest soul, one carved by struggle and refined by grace. As the night falls and the ancient hills fade into shadow, remember this: Georgia isn't unreal because it's a fantasy. It's unreal because it's real beyond belief. This was Unreal Georgia. Secret cities, deadly passes, and buried truths. If this journey moved you, share it with someone who dreams of places untouched by time. And never stop exploring the unreal beauty of our world. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed exploring Prague as much as I enjoyed guiding you through it. If you found this travel guide helpful, don't forget to like, share,